Totally dry. How was that? His is more orange. Mine is you asked me for that, I gave it.
Okay, now setting up. Today we discuss just the introduction of the adrenal gland and the microscope. So the microscopy is because over here your body gland. Now adrenal gland. Adrenal glands, they are 2 in number and located on the upper pole of each kidney. These adrenal glands, they are responsible for what? When they keep quiet, then everything becomes normal. Okay, now adrenal gland. What is the function of this gland in the body? Hormonal. So basically, it is the gland which is responsible for 2 different type of the hormones, which are released from the cortex or the released from the medulla. Developmentally, these 2 components are derived embryologically from separate sources. The medulla is neuroectodermal in origin. That, if you remember, I told you the medulla of the adrenal gland is derived from the neurotract cells. So it is neuroectodermal in origin. While the cortex of the gland develops or derives embryologically from the surrounding mesodermal tissue. Now, as you see that they are located on each pole, and they are near to the median plane. The basic difference in the right and the left side we discuss tomorrow in the gross anatomy. But if you see that they are, the right side will be the pyramidal in shape, and other one is the crescentic in shape. This is the pyramidal one. Embryologically, it has got 2 parts: the medulla inside and the cortex outside, and both these are surrounded within the capsule. Now, important part is the blood supply. Now, it is richly or highly vascular in nature, and it receives arterial blood from the 3 different sources: the superior, middle, and the inferior suprarenal arteries, and will be drained. Its blood, which is full of hormones, by means of a single vein into the inferior vena cava. Now, how the arteries are distributed? If you see that the main arteries, they come near to the capsule. This is the capsule. Then we have the cortical zone, and finally the medullary zone, the medulla. So cortex and the medulla. Cortex derived from mesoderm, medulla derived from neuroectoderm, and surrounded by the capsule. So the vessels, the arteries, they ramify, they come near to the capsule and then divide into the short cortical arteries or the long cortical arteries. The basic difference between the short and the long is that short, as the name indicates, immediately ramify into the capillary network of the sinusoids. If you see here, the short cortical arteries immediately ramify into the capillary network. It breaks into the multiple capillaries just below the capsule into the subcapsular plexus, while the long cortical arteries traverse through the cortex, and before reaching the medulla, they divide into the capillary network. So, what is the purpose of this division?
The medulla to increase the surface area.
Constant and
the secretion is different. Secretion.
Yeah, the surface area.
medulla receive two sources of the blood. One is fresh blood full of oxygen, comes directly by means of the long cortical arteries into the medullary cells, and second one through the venous sinusoids, which contain the glucocorticoids, which contain the mineralocorticoids, and this corticotrophic hormones, they play a major role in the release of the medullary hormones. So it not only get the input from the cortical region, the blood containing the corticotrophic hormones, but also contain a direct blood which is full of oxygen and full of nutrition.
So you said that the long cortical form the plexus and the medulla. You said it gets the second source from where?
These cells, which are the medullary cells, they are responsible for secreting the adrenaline and noradrenaline. The secretion, these cells receive the two sources of blood. The one is direct by means of the long cortical artery, which is full of oxygenated blood and directly comes to the cells. The second set of blood, which is coming through the venous sinuses, venous sinuses, which receive the blood by means of the short cortical arteries or subcapsular plexus. This one, subcapsular plexus. Now, this blood when reaches the medullary cells, they are full of corticotrophic hormones. They are hormones, and these hormones play a role in release of the adrenaline and the noradrenaline. So it receives the oxygenated blood as well as
The venous blood.
the venous blood full of the corticotrophic hormones. And finally, all these hormones, they collect by means of venules, then the large vein, and finally drain into the single medullary vein. A single medullary vein which takes this blood to the inferior vena cava and finally into the general circulation. So three or the multiple arteries, the three different multiple arteries from the different source, link the arterial blood to the adenomedulla, and it will drain blood by means of a single vein, which is called as the central medullary vein. So this concept is clear to all?
Yes.
Any questions? No?
No, you meant first you said all the secretions.
Now, as far as the microscopy is concerned, you know, the gland is enclosed within a capsule, and this capsule sends the fibrous or the very delicate septas, which are called as the trabeculae. The capsule surrounds the gland, and this sends the trabeculae of fibrous delicate septas, and through this trabeculae, the divisions, or you can say the arterial sinusoids, the sinusoids travel along with these trabeculae. From where they come? They come from the subcapsular plexus. They branch and branches of the arteries, which form the subcapsular plexus. Now the arrangement of the cells in the cortex and the medulla shows typical arrangement of the endocrine cell. If you remember, recall your memory, the endocrine cells either arranged in the form of follicles, and the example of the follicles are thyroid gland, or they are arranged in the form of the clumps on the cords. Clumps means the aggregation of the two or more cells, which form a group, around it clusters or clumps. And the second arrangement is the parallel cells are arranged parallel to each other in a long rows, long rows, and they are called as the cords-like arrangement. So in the cortex and the medulla, the same arrangement will form. But when we look into the cortex, it is further, according to the arrangement of the cell, it is further divided into 3 zones: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and the zona reticularis. Like this. If you see in this transparency, this is the same artery which shows the subcapsular plexus. Now these subcapsular plexus give the sinusoids, wide lumen sinusoids, which travel throughout the cortex, and cortex is divided into 3 zones: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. So these are the 3 zones. And then finally we have the medulla. Now in total there are 4 zones. Now within these 4 zones, the cells are arranged in different patterns. In the zona glomerulosa, they are arranged in the rounded clusters. Rounded clusters or clumps. Multiple cells come close together and they gather together and form a rounded clumps or the clusters. Some of them are continuous with the second arrangement of the cells, which are cord-like, elongated, single row or double row. If you see, some of the cells are arranged singly, but in other cords, the cells are 2 in number. So they come close together, 2 cells, and they form a cord. So in the zona fasciculata, the cord-like arrangement of the cells are present. Okay. So how we identify the zona glomerulosa? The zona glomerulosa is subcapsular in position, just below the capsule. Okay. And they are containing the cells which are arranged in the clusters. Zona fasciculata is the broadest zone. If you see, it is comprising of only 10 to 15%, but it is made up of about 60 to 70% area of the cortex. So it is a broadest zone.
The fasciculata, right?
The fasciculata. Okay, and the cells are arranged in either parallel cords, which are either single cell or the 2 cell things. And between these, the venous sinuses, the blood passes between these 2 cords by means of the sinusoids. So sinusoids are arranged between these single rows and between the clusters. And they are supported by a fine, delicate septa, and they are called as the trabeculae. So the capsule gives the trabeculae, which supports the venous sinuses, which are located between the clusters or the cords arrangement of the cortical cells. Is this clear to all? Yes. Now when we come to the zona reticularis, the difference is that in the zona reticularis, the cells are arranged in the cords, short cord-like pattern, but these cords are branching in pattern. You see, they are branching arrangement of the short cords. How they are differentiated? Number 1, they are short
and
they are branching. And the third point is that they are parallel to the capsule. If you see the parallel, they are, or you can say that they are at the right angle with the zona fasciculata. Okay. So the cords are at 90 degree, they are short and they are branched. So this is the basic difference between the cords of arrangement of the fasciculata and the reticularis. In the fasciculata, the cords are in a single double layer and they are parallel to each other, the long axis of the capsule. And in the reticularis, cords are short, branching pattern is there, and they are horizontally placed. Okay? They are vertically placed. So these are the, what are you doing?